Good afternoon everyone and welcome to my craft room. It's Julianne Richards here. If you don't know me, I'm a independent Stampin' Up demonstrator in southern Tasmania. So glad that you could join me today in what's a nice day. It's a little bit darker than I would have liked at this time of the day, though it is 3:30. So here in Tassie, where I'm from, 3:30 is the start of the evening, so I suppose we can't really complain too much. I'm seeing a couple of people popping on. Hannah, hi, nice to have you here, and Anita as well. Just bear with me guys, I'm going to make sure I've got my sound right. Yes, I do. Ooh, don't know how you can listen to that voice. Anyway, here we go. Today I am going to be crafting with the Forever Fern stamp set bundle, to be honest. It's becoming one of my favourites at the moment, but I have always been a bit of a sucker for blues and greens, and this set just basically cries out for blues and greens, which is really up my alley. I'm going to do a couple of cards for you today, so please hang around to the end if you like. Of course you can always come back and watch the rest of it on the replay, but yes, I'm going to be doing 2 cards, and to the face value of them they both look fairly similar. They've both got a strip of cardstock and a sentiment and a couple of circles, but they're quite different when you actually look at them a little bit closer. Oh great, so I've got lots of people coming on. I've got Mel from my from our Wild Heart Crafters team. Hey Mel Sam, and Mel Crichton, who works with me in our day job. Nice to have you here, and Sally as well. So hi Sally, glad you found me at the right time. Anyway, I don't mean to be, I won't make fun. Anyway, so here we go. We're going to actually do this particular card here. I've got everything cut that I need for this one. The colours that I am using are, I'll get them out of the way first so you know. They go with the designer series paper, so thankfully we can coordinate our colours. They're Pear Pizzazz, Garden Green and Pretty Peacock. So for the wonderful group of ladies who have bought my class by mail for this set, you will be using these 3 colours as well. So once you've finished making the cards that I have provided you in your set, you can probably have a go at some of these as well, get some use of your stamp set and your dies, so that's really good. Anyway, so okay, so we're going to start making this one. It's an interesting fold to this one. It's sort of like a Z fold. It's fundamentally the same card base as usual, my usual card base, which is 8 1/4 inches by 5 3/4. I've scored it in the centre, but then I've scored it halfway as well. So I think that's actually 2 7/8 there. So you get that Z fold, and not like unlike other Z folds, it sort of folds in the half. A lot of other Z folds sort of fold a lot closer to the edge there. So this one folds in half, so to look at it that way, it just looks like a straight card. Anyway, oh, Elizabeth's watching. Hey Elizabeth, are you watching or just listening? Anyway, I'll see how we go. I'll chat to you later. Okay, so I'm going to do this one first, so no more chatting, let's get that underway. So I've got everything cut here, so let's have a little go. Actually, I've got lots of things cut here, so we might get all jumbled up. We'll see how we go. So I have ink. Okay, so as I mentioned, we have our card base, which is basically our normal card base with that extra fold to give us the Z. So we'll pop that aside for the moment. I've got a strip of the beautiful designer series paper. Now this designer series paper is just my perfect dream. If somebody asked me what to design one just for me, then this is the paper I would have chose. So it's basically 2 inches wide by 5 5/8 long. So it's just got a tiny peak of white around the edge of that. So that's just to go there. I have a couple of circles, so I've cut these with the layered circles dies. So I've got a white one, and I'll tell you how big that one is. So this white one is for my sentiment, and that's about 1 7/8 wide, and I've got a Pretty Peacock one as well, and that's 2 1/8 across as well. So I have done a little bit of extra there to that one, and I'll show you in a minute what I've done with that one. So basically with this card, all I'm going to do is glue this piece of designer series paper to the front. So what are you saying here, Mel? I haven't had a chance to play with it. Oh, Mel, you'll have to get it out. Mel Sam, you'll have to get out and play with it. You'll never go back. Okay, so I'm going to pop this strip of designer series paper just along the front there. Just perfect size. Looks like I cut it special, which I sort of did. Just wiggle it a bit with our wonderful glue that lets you wiggle before it sets, which is great, especially for crafters like me. And that's it there. Now what I'll do is I'll bring in these circles and I'll show you what I've done. This Forever Greenery suite comes with this amazingly wonderful gold cord. It's like a gold thread, and it's got lots and lots of it's lots of very fine threads all twisted together. So I'm just trying to show you that in the light. It's really, really lovely. So to get that, and I haven't made you watch me do it because it was excruciating actually having to do it. I'll grab some of the cord. Bear with me, sorry. Where is it? Here. I've grabbed some of the cord. So here it is, just the gold thread. I've wrapped it around all 4 fingers of my hand as many times as I could with the length that I had, and brought it back to the beginning. Then basically there you've got your sort of length of cord. Just to put it onto my little square, my little circle like that, and I have trapped it underneath some dimensionals. So that's fundamentally all I've done there. So rather than you have to watch me do that, which was a bit fiddly, so you basically just capture the ends of your cord under some dimensionals and it keeps it in place. And then those dimensionals, of course, will be then used to mount the white on top. So it's easy, they're sort of double use there. So I've got that done already on my my piece of Royal Peacock cardstock. So I might now just stamp our sentiment. And this stamp set's a little bit limited in its sentiments, but there is one that I absolutely keep coming back to, and I really, really love it because you can use it for just about anything. It's To a Friend That Makes Me Smile. And hey, we all need that at the moment. We've got some friends that make me smile on at the moment. You guys know who you are. And I'm just going to stamp that in the middle of my white circle. There we go. Well, roughly in the middle. Not really very in the middle at all, really. And then, as I mentioned, I'm going to sort of mount that up onto those dimensionals there, and I might add another couple just to give it some support. I'll just take the top off those, and I'll grab some more if I can find some more. Here they are. I'll just add another one. Oop. Sort of around here. Maybe one up there, one down there. That seems like a lot of dimensionals, doesn't it, for one little circle, but I suppose in this case they're serving a double purpose. I actually like this circle slightly off centre rather than having the same, oh no, ink accident. Forget that ink accident, must be on my fingers. Okay, so I'm putting that slightly off. I'm going to put my thumb over that so you can't see my ink accident. Slightly off centre so you see a little bit more of this edge. Okay, so that eventually is going to go on there like that. On there like that. But first of all, I'm going to do some stamping here, if I can do it without causing terrible, terrible messes. So the stamp set comes with some lovely fern leaves, some foliage. I'm going to use these 3 images here. So they're here in the set. There's this one here, which is just a nice medium sort of leaf. This long wispy leaf, which looks almost like, from an Australian point of view, like a gum leaf. And this one here, which definitely looks like a gum leaf to me. You know, the juvenile gums that get that sort of round foliage. Someone who knows a little bit more about botany could probably tell me, but there's definitely a gum tree that I see where the juvenile, the young leaves, have actually got that circular sort of appearance to them. So I'm going to keep to the colours that are fun, and if you have a look at our paper closely, we've got the same sort of foliage here. So we've got the round ones and the long spindly ones. So I'm going to keep to the same pattern, the same colours that the paper is guiding me. So I'm being guided by my paper. Okay, so I've got my Pretty Peacock stamp pad. And I'm going to, this one is the nice little round leaf. And I'm going to stamp it just coming in off the edge of our card. I'm going to close it down so I don't come in too far. I don't want to come in too far and sort of lose the detail. Pop one up here. One coming in from there. Just sort of space them out a little bit. As I always say, make sure you're stamping on a surface that you don't mind getting a bit inky, because it will happen, and often does. So who else have we got watching? Margaret, hey, thanks for watching, and Karen as well. Thanks, guys. Okay, so that's our nice little round leaf. I'm going to use the garden green for the sort of medium size stubby sort of leaf. So I'm going to have him coming in. I might put one up here just to cover a bit of a gap, and one coming up in there. Okay, it doesn't matter if they overlap a little bit. And then our big long wispy one, I'm using our Pear Pizzazz, which is one of my favourites. So I'm going to bring him up here, her, him, it. I'm going to pop one there, just changing the angle. It's always great to change the angle on your stamps just so they don't have that sort of same old repetitive sort of look to them. Sort of move them around so that they look a bit different. Okay, so that looks pretty good to me. Hey Maureen, thanks for joining in. You haven't missed much yet. Basically just been sticking pieces of paper together. But you can watch the rest on replay if you want to. Oh, I'll keep my Pear Pizzazz out because I'm actually just going to fit in some of the blank spaces with the dots. So like many of the Stampin' Up stamp sets, you've got a series of little dots here, which just sort of serve to fill in some spaces. No one likes blank spaces. So I'm going to use the Pear Pizzazz again. I'm going to stamp off once, and I'm just going to use the stamped off, not so dark image, and just pop some random little dots wherever I think it's a little bit sparse. Okay, so that's probably enough. Yes, Mel, they are. They're my favourite. I've mentioned my favourite colours. Okay, so there we go. That's looking pretty good. I like that. So I'll just close that off, and I'll bring back in our circle that we have done. I'm really not liking that's got a splodge on it. Anyway. So I'm going to put the circle in there in the centre, so it looks like it's like over, it's sort of like over the whole way, and therefore I'm only going to put ink on this left hand half. So just pop some ink, glue on the left hand side, and in the centre we go. Okay, so there we are. There we are. So we have quite a nice simple card there. There's nothing too fancy about any of that. It's all just simple folds and straight cuts and some fairly straight stamping there as well. And I'm keeping my finger over that because it's really annoying me. So I'll bring back in the first one I made, which doesn't have an ink splodge. There you go. So that's the first one we've made. So we've got a beautiful stamps there that bring the same colours from our designer series paper. We've got our looped gold thread and our friend who makes us smile. So I really like that. Yeah, so, you know, as I say, nice and simple, and you can use the inks and things that you got, or if you're doing my class, it's just another card you can do with stamp a leaf over your ink blob. Yes, good idea, Kay. I may well do that later. Or I may just recycle the thread and start again. Anyway, here we go. So the second card I'm going to do, as I mentioned, in the face of it looks very similar. I haven't actually got, I've cut everything I need for it. It's one of these cards that I've made in my head, and I cut what I thought I needed to make it with, but I haven't actually assembled it yet, so we'll see how we go. Okay, so it's got a very similar look, but I am actually using a couple of different elements of this greenery suite, which I haven't used on videos yet. Robin, on my, just when I'm using videos, just when I'm doing videos, I just use fragrance-free, alcohol-free, sensitive bottom baby wipes. You can get them in the supermarket, so that's just when I'm doing my videos, but after I get off I actually use the chamois to clean them properly, but just so I don't get it everywhere, it's just a moist baby wipe, but make sure it's got no aloe vera or anything like that that might hurt your stamps, and they've got to be wet, so I do go through a lot of them, because once they start to dry you leave little tufts of baby wipe everywhere. So anyway, so what I'm using for this, I'm introducing a couple of elements that we probably, if you've been watching me, you haven't seen before. And it's all the way over there, apologies, oh, chair goes. The suite actually also includes these wonderful Forever Gold Designer Series laser cut elements. So we've got, and I don't know whether you can see that in the light, but we've got beautiful gold. It's all laser cut, so it's nice and bright and sharp. We've got fern leaves, small little leaves. We've got sentiment boxes in round, hexagonal and square. So we've got 3 sheets each of those. Plus, and there is also something I haven't used as yet, you've also got 3 sheets of these beautiful backgrounds, I suppose you'd call them, like that. Now, isn't that just to die for? So it's in gold, and as you can see, it's the right size for a 4x6 card, and you can just glue those and make a ready background for your cards. So this is really a wonderful little addition for quick and easy cards. And look, to be honest, with the card that I'm making now, it's sort of a bit blah until you add the gold, and then it just gives it a oomph like you wouldn't believe. But anyway, so I'll let you guys be the judge. So I'm using the round one. They are actually white on the other side, so you can colour them if you're not into gold. You can colour them whatever colour or leave them white if you wanted to leave them white as well. So I'm using one of those. Again, I have my circles in Whisper White and Pretty Peacock, and they are exactly the same size circles as I used in the first card. I've also got a panel of the beautiful Designer Series paper, so it's the same one, and it again is the same dimensions as my first card, so it's 2 inches wide. It might even be a little bit shorter. You'll see why in a moment. I have a panel of Whisper White which I've popped through, and this is also in the suite, so you're getting a big long running ad for this greenery suite today. There is some embossing folders that come with it, and this has been run through the embossing folder. So it's just really, it's sort of, I know it's supposed to be some leaves sort of like branching up from each other, but in a way it sort of reminds me of a knitted jumper as well. I don't know whether that's maybe a sort of rib knit, I don't know. Probably because my mother's knitting a lot at the moment because she's stuck inside with isolation. So yeah, so it does remind me of a knitted jumper also. So maybe later on we can do some things where it's that theme. I have my Whisper White thick card base again, and this time it's just a straight card base. I haven't scored it or done anything. I've just left it plain. And I have a panel of Pretty Peacock, which is cut just 1/8 of an inch smaller all the way around. So there we go, so that's there. So what I'm actually going to do, and you can probably tell already, is I'm going to pop the embossed panel on top of our Pretty Peacock. I might use double-sided tape, to be honest, because this embossing folder is very, very deep in its embossings, so I wanted to make sure that it's actually going to stick. So rather than using a lot of glue, I'll just use double-sided tape. So I think this card, I mean, with the elements that's going into this card, it really couldn't be anything but lovely. But as I say, I haven't actually popped it together yet. I'm winging it like my friend Michelle did a bit earlier in her videos today. So hopefully you're all caught up with Michelle's videos earlier today. If not, pop over and catch up, replay. She tackled a stamp set that I'm struggling with at the moment, but she makes it look so good. Oh, hello Michelle, you're here with us. No, she did a lovely job. Okay, so I've got that embossing folder there on our pretty peacock. As you can see, because it's a narrow embossing folder, I've got this gap of unembossed here down the side. So I'm going to cover that with our designer series paper. And you see the designer series paper is actually cut exactly the same length as the embossing folder. So I'm going to do that with double-sided tape as well. Of course, the downside with tear and tape or double-sided tape is that it's not as forgiving as the glue. You sort of have to basically be in position the first time. So there's no wriggle room. Okay, so I'm going to pop that on there, keeping in mind that it needs to be in the right place at the right time. Okay, cool. What have we got here? Christian. Good morning from the Netherlands. Oh, hey, thanks for joining us from all that way. What time is it, Christian, if you don't mind me asking? What time is it in the Netherlands right now? And Jenny as well. Hey, Jenny. You've got a parcel in the mail from me, Jenny. You should keep an eye out for it. Okay, so I'm going to bring in this amazing sun-shaped big beautiful, it looks like the sun, doesn't it, with all the rays coming off, but they're actually leaves. So I'm going to pop that just smack bang in the middle of that card. Where else could it go? And I'm just going to do that with glue, just enough to make it stick. Okay, so just pop that smack bang in the middle. It's almost 8 in the morning. Okay, so it's, what is it here, guys? It must be almost 4 in the afternoon. There we are. Okay, so we've got our gold there. I'll just stop at that. I think that's just so pretty. Maybe a bit plain. Okay, so we'll keep going. Okay, so I'll bring in my circles. So as I say, I've got a circle in pretty peacock and a circle in white. I'm going to bring in that same stamp set, that same sentiment, I mean. And just try and get a little bit more central this time. It was a bit slack last time. I'm going to bring my head in a little bit, so forgive the top of my head. It's a bit better. And no splodge, hopefully no splodge this time. Okay, so I've got that. And I'm going to, I might actually attach this circle just straight to the gold. As I say, we're making this up as we go along. This circle straight to the gold, like that. And then I might pop this one up on dimensionals, just for a bit of oomph. Just a couple, doesn't need to be too many. Again, I'm going to go slightly off center with it. That's just because that's who I am. Oh, that wobbles. Now be careful when you are gluing to gold foil elements, because your glue will not stick. And I'm not going to move that too much, but if I move that pretty peacock element is going to move around. So we just have to be a little bit careful. Give it a bit longer than you normally would to dry. Okay, so we've got that. And what I'm going to do as well is bring in these beautiful gold hoops. Now, I'm not a bling sort of person. I think you probably realise the wedding ring and a ring my mother gave me and my watch is about the only jewellery I use. And I'm not a big sort of earringy, necklacey sort of person. So when these gold hoops came out, I thought, what am I going to do with these? But I have found things to do with them. So one of the cards in my class uses a couple, and I'm having a class at home next week, and we're going to be making dream catchers out of them, tiny little dream catchers. So I think that's going to keep the ladies busy for quite some time. Make sure I've got enough of the gold thread, because I also use the gold thread. Okay, so the gold circle is going to sit in behind there, just to add a little bit of extra bling, and I'm going to use a glue dot to attach it. I'm just going to put one glue dot on one side and another glue dot. Now you are going to see them slightly, because glue dots are obviously a little bit wider than a ring, but I don't think that matters too much as long as they're stuck. You could put the glue dot underneath. I probably should have done that before I added this circle. Probably a cleverer thing to do, but anyway, who said I was clever? No. Okay, so there's our circle. How's that? Is that enough bling for you? That's just shining in the late afternoon sun there. That's pretty special. So yeah, I really like that. I haven't put it on the card yet, but I really like it. So we'll bring in our card base, and we'll just grab some glue. Okay. Yeah, I knew you and I were similar, Michelle. Simple ladies with simple tastes. Okay, so we'll pop that on our card base, and that just really finishes that off really nice. Okay, so how's that? You like that one? To a friend that makes me smile. And I might add, if I've got them here, add a little bit of more, something special. I have the gold glitter enamel dots here, which you can tell I've been using quite a lot of, and I'm going to add a couple of those as well, just in case it just wasn't enough the way it was. So let's just add a bit more. Why have some when you can have a lot? So we'll just add that, maybe one down here, and a bigger one. Oh, one thing with these dots, they really don't like to come off the backing. And one, maybe we'll put them both at the same side. Slightly roll the oh yeah, that's a good idea. Thank you, Hannah. I'll do that next time. Roll the glue dot up so it's not so wide. Now that, while I'm talking to you, that's travelled. Come back, you little blighter. He just doesn't want to behave himself. He's going to stick in a bad place. Oh, that's it. You've missed your moment to be famous. I'm going to use another one. There we go. Beautiful. All right. Okay, so there we are. We have a bit of bling as well as everything else. So there you go. As I say, a relatively simple card, but with the addition of this gold circle, it just makes it sort of something really special. So if you're going to be looking at getting this sweet, I suggest you grab the laser cut shapes as well. We'll put something inside. No, I think I might leave it. I think that's enough. Good to know when to stop. Okay, so that is my two cards for you today. I'll bring back the one without the splodge. As you can see, to look at them, they're fairly similar. They've both got circles, they've both got gold, they've both got designer series paper, but you know, very different. And this one actually looks quite plain next to that one. So anyway, that's great. So thank you very much for joining me, guys. It was lovely to see so many of you on today. As I say, this is the Forever Greenery Suite, which includes the Forever Fern stamp set and dies. I haven't used the dies today. It is available to customers on the 3rd of June, but if you absolutely can't wait, 5 days till the 3rd of June, you can join my team, the Chatty Stampers, and pop it into your starter kit. We have some amazing things happening in June. We have an amazing joining offer, so if you did ever want to become a demonstrator, probably June is the time to do it. So please contact me if that sounds at all attractive to you. We've also got, what else have we got? Apart from fantastic new products all coming out, it's just a really exciting time. So, you know, make sure you keep an eye out for my videos. I'll sort of be featuring lots of new products. And, you know, I'm here available if you have any questions about the products that you see. So have a great Friday, and whatever day it is where you happen to be, have a great Friday, have a great weekend, and I will see you all next week.